Mark my words on this. Vengeance is an idiot's game.
You know, a friend of mine, he always says, revenge is a fool's game.
There you go. Got your revenge. How does it feel?
I don't know how it feels. I feel empty, okay? I feel empty. It's nothing. The emptiness is what I was trying to get rid of by finding Doctor. I've been empty ever since that day. I thought that revenge, killing Doctor, might fill me up a bit, might give me some substance.
And it hasn't?
No, it hasn't.
Two men, two different endings. One of them dies, and somehow we all feel mercy for him. The other one lives, and somehow that lands like punishment. Arthur Morgan gets a few months to live and a sunrise to witness at death. Niko Bellic gets the rest of his life and an empty hole where the revenge was supposed to go. The same studio wrote both of them, same core character. And once you see what Rockstar did, you can't unsee it. They told the same story twice, and only one of these two men was ever allowed to be saved. Spoilers, it's not Niko. You already believe something about these two games, and you're right to. Red Dead Redemption 2 is by far the better one. Better written, better acted, the kind of story that has grown men sitting in the dark getting emotional over a dying horse. And I'm not here to take that from you. I'm here to argue that the lesser-loved game, the one nobody made 100 video essays about, did something braver with the exact same material, and that the gap between the two tells you precisely what Rockstar learned and what it quietly gave up on the way to building its ultimate masterpiece. I'd like to make one promise before we go ahead. One of the most honorable things Arthur Morgan ever does, one of those missions that left you sitting there quiet after the screen faded, was already written by Rockstar years before Red Dead, for a different protagonist in a different city. Exactly the same. I have never seen a single person put the two missions side by side. It's the last thing I'll show you because there are other things we must understand before that, so hold on to it. Let's start with the part most people hardly notice. Before Arthur Morgan ever coughed up blood, before the origin of John Marston, the Vanderland gang, a bunch of outlaws, were already there in the Rockstar multiverse. They just rode motorcycles instead of horses. "2009, The Lost and Damned, a bolt-on expansion to GTA 4 that most people played once and forgot. You ride a bike instead of a horse, you wear a leather cut instead of a gun belt, and you spend the whole thing watching a man you love, a man you idolized, your father figure, drive everything you'll build together into the ground." Johnny Klebitz is the vice president of the motorcycle club The Lost. While the president, Billy Gray, sat in rehab, Johnny held the club together, kept the peace with the rival gang, kept the money moving, kept the lights on. Then Billy comes home, high on his own legend, picks a war the club can't win, and starts making calls that dooms Johnny and his brothers. If the shape of that sounds familiar, it should. 9 years later, Rockstar built a 60-hour epic on the same skeleton. Swap the bike for a horse, swap Billy Gray for Dutch Vanderland, and you've got the identical man standing at the center of it. The loyal number 2 who can see that their time is coming to an end. He watches the leader he'd have died for slam his boot on the gas.
I had a goddamn plan!
Billy gets obsessed with the Angels of Death, and then the heroin. Dutch gets obsessed with the O'Driscolls, then Leviticus Cornwall, then the Pinkertons, Tahiti, and, ultimately, with the love of his life, Micah Bell.
I'm just teasing. You know, you always had the most incredible way of putting things. Oh, you're more than that, Dutch. You're... Well, you're amazing.
You creepy, no-good bastard.
Both men stop leading and start performing, and both gangs rot from the inside and burn on the way out. The Lost torch their own clubhouse. The Vanderlinde gang holes up in a cave by the end.
Hello, Arthur.
Mary?
You sure know how to get yourself into trouble, don't you, baby?
I need your help.
You sure know how to get me out, Johnny.
Come here.
Don't make me beg you, Arthur.
My money, my life, me. I wasn't good enough.
I'm sorry. We need your help real bad.
Give me a break, sweetheart. I used to love you.
I told you, I ain't gonna lose me to meth.
Well, you lost me to it.
I'll owe you.
You already owe me.
Even the women rhyme! Johnny has Ashley, the ex he can't quit, the one who only ever shows up when she needs something. A debt cleared, a dealer paid off, a problem made to vanish. Every time, Johnny swears it's the last time. Every time, he gets back on the bike. Arthur has Mary. Same letters, same ask. Find my father, save my brother, come do this one thing for me, Arthur. And the same answer every time, because you, despite helping your love interest every time, cannot help yourself.
That woman confuses me and plays me for a fiddle like no one else alive. I trust I will not make a god-awful fool of myself once more, but somehow I imagine I shall.
God, Ashley, sometimes I wish I didn't care about you.
Two gangs with two doomed leaders and two good number twos, carrying a woman they can't have and a loyalty that's killing them. Rockstar didn't stumble into that twice by accident. So if the bones are identical, why does one of these stories live in your chest for years, while the other one is just a trivia answer? Arthur is seen as the best protagonist ever, while Johnny Boy is seen as the worst by some. What ridiculous contrast! It isn't the graphics or the game design. Maybe slightly. But you strip the polish off both, and the real difference is two things: time and nerve. Now, Rockstar never stood up and announced they took the biker DLC and rebuilt it as a Western, so I won't put words in their mouths. But Dan Houser, the man who wrote both, has said enough about how he thinks to explain the whole gap.
And you've talked about in that interview, you said that a lot of video games work on the same premise, that you start as a weak person and end up as a strong superhero. But what if you start as a tough guy? Someone who already is very strong, someone that is emotionally confident of his place in the world. Arthur's journey is not about becoming a superhero, because he's almost one at the start, but it's about an intellectual roller coaster when his worldview gets taken apart.
He worried out loud about repetition. He said most games start you off weak and end you as a superhero, and he was sick of the formula. So he flipped it. Arthur doesn't start weak. Arthur starts as the most capable man in any room he walks into, and the story spends 60 hours taking his certainty apart, one belief at a time, until the toughest guy in the gang is the one quietly falling to pieces. You can't pull that off with Johnny. The DLC drops you into a gang that's already halfway off the edge. You never knew these people before it all went wrong. You never sat at their campfire or heard them sing. You never watched them be a family. After all, there is only so much you can do in a DLC. So when the Lost die, it reads as a shootout. When the Vanderlinde gang dies, it reads as a funeral for people you knew. That's the thing the extra 40 hours buy you. Grief needs a setup. You can only mourn a family you were allowed to love first, and Houser built the whole machine to deny you the one thing games are supposed to hand over: the win.
I'm afraid.
He talked about how every game trains you to beat the final boss and walk away a champion, and how he wanted the opposite of that.
John dies in Red Dead 1 and wanted to top that. And so the idea that John's death is fairly sudden. And so if he's got this long drawn out death, and then I'd always been obsessed by TB. as diseases go, it's a great literary device. As an idea, this guy getting weaker who felt like he was immortal and essentially was immortal. He was the protagonist in a video game. He could not die. And suddenly he is becoming mortal. And but that helps him see stuff. I thought that was a different way of doing a lead character in a game.
Make the ending hurt. Take the trophy away and hand the player grief instead.
It feels like an old friend that I miss, whether it's John or Arthur or Niko. It's a real goodbye. There's a real sadness to finishing a video game.
Been with them so long.
Yeah, and it's a real goodbye. I mean, it's like saying goodbye to a friend.
When you finish a book you love.
Couldn't have said any better. So let's talk about the friend nobody let us save. Here's where the two men split. Arthur Morgan gets handed a death sentence at the worst possible moment. Hosea, Lenny were gone. John was in prison, Dutch was shagging Micah, they had just come back from Guarma, and everything was a mess. Boom! You got 6 months to clean it all up before you die. And somehow Arthur's disease was the best thing that ever happened to him. The tuberculosis is a clock. And that clock is the only reason he finally learns to give himself one hard look in the mirror. It is tuberculosis why he stops running away from everything he did his entire life. As his eyes turned red with the disease and blood coughed out from his mouth, for the first time he began to see things clearly and let out what was buried deep inside his chest all them years. From there, he gets a purpose, and he finally gets to choose. Help John escape from prison, help Sadie seek her revenge, help Rains fall, help the debtors by absolving their debts, and finally, in the end, help John and his family escape or go chase the money. Whatever you pick, the game lets you mean it. And if you played as a decent man, you end up on a hillside watching the sun come up, having done one last good thing, at peace with the bill coming due. And finally, get a burial you always wished for. That's the part people skate past when they call it the saddest ending in gaming. It is sad, but it's also the kindest thing Rockstar has ever done to a protagonist. Arthur gets his redemption. Arthur dies clean. Niko Bellic doesn't get clean. Niko survives everything. The war, the boat over, the city, every contract and double cross and rooftop chase Liberty City throws at him. And yet he's still breathing when the credits roll. And that's the cruel joke of it, because survival was never the thing he was looking for. He crossed an ocean, carrying one thing. Revenge.
When I was in the army, we were going on a mission. To ambush a squad who had killed a lot of innocent people. But we never did it. There were 15 of us, all boys from the village. But one of us betrayed the group. It was a setup. For money. 12 people died. 3 escaped. I know the traitor was not me. So for 10 years, I've been searching for the other 2. One of them lives here.
Why are you telling me this now? Do you always get sentimental after you kill people?
Niko spent 10 years hunting for the answer to a single question. Who took the money to bury the other 12? And if you follow the stereotype, you would expect an insidious villain waiting in the end, killing whom would satiate us. But what you run into in the end is Darko Breivik, a mirror in your face. His name almost similar to you, his face even more so. He is no monster waiting at the end of the road. He's a strung-out wreck with needle scars up both arms, begging you, Niko, to pull the trigger, because dying would be easier than the life he's already stuck in. You get the choice. Put one in him, or walk away. And here's the part that actually matters. It changes nothing. Kill him, and you stand over the body and tell Roman that you feel empty, that the hole is still right there where it always was. In fact, you actually do the guy a favor as Darko thanks you for ending his life.
Thank you.
Spare him, and you admit the same truth from the other side, that killing the man would have fixed nothing anyway. The dead get closure, the living do not. This is realism at its peak. There is no grand background score playing in the end as you make the biggest decision of your life in 10 years. The sky is as stark as any other day, and you feel the same like you have always felt.
You definitely did the right thing. You're proud of yourself.
It took every fiber of my being, pulling in the same direction, not to kill Darko, to not get revenge for all those lives he took away. I wanted it for so long, he would just be dead, like everyone else from our village. Living is not easy. Then when I looked at him, I realized that nothing would change if I killed him. Revenge would not somehow shut the book on what I have seen. Only those who die get closure. Living do not.
So look at what Rockstar actually pulled off here. They took two good men drowning in the same kind of violence and handed them opposite fates. The one who's dying gets to be saved. The one who gets to live stays damned. Arthur's death is the gift. Niko's life is the sentence.
Darko is dead. He's finally paid for his crimes.
You should let go of it now. You have a new life in America. Forget the past.
Sometimes I think my past is all I got.
There's one mission that proves the whole argument, because both games made it almost shot for shot. In GTA 4, you chase a burglar named Ivan Bichkov across the rooftops. He slips and ends up dangling off a ledge, staring up at you. You can shoot his hands off the brick, or you can haul him up. There's no reward for killing him. None. Pull him up, and much later he turns up alive on a street in Burkham, grateful, ready to do you a favor down the line. Now play Red Dead. A man named Jimmy Brooks recognizes Arthur from the Blackwater ferry job and bolts. You chase him to the edge of a cliff where he ends up hanging, staring up at you. You can stamp on his fingers, or you can haul him up. Pull him up and he gives you a steel pen and rides off swearing he never saw your face. Same mission, same ledge, same choice. One tiny difference between them, and that difference is the entire game. In Red Dead, the second you save Jimmy Brooks, something happens in the corner of your screen. A little meter ticks toward good. That's the honor system. Every choice Arthur makes gets weighed and shown straight back to you in real time. Save the man, honor up. Rob the homestead, honor down. Help or kill, good or bad, the game keeps the ledger for you. It's comforting, and it's the reason RDR2 feels clean even while Arthur is doing something terrible. You always know where you stand. The West has a scoreboard. Liberty City does not. GTA 4 hands you the same kind of choices and then flat out refuses to tell you which one was right, because it doesn't believe there is a right one. Take Holland Play. The mission gives you a gun in your hand and two men in front of you, Playboy X and Dwayne Forge, and the game tells you to pick one. Playboy is the young hustler who came up and left his old mentor behind. Dwayne is that mentor, just out of prison, broke, with nobody left in the world. Kill either one and the payout is the same. No meter pops up to confirm that sparing the broken old man over the slick young winner was the decent call. If you kill the mentor, Playboy will never call you again. You are just a cold killer. Spare Dwayne and he phones you later, the only friend he's got left on Earth, asking if you want to hang out, because he has no one. That's your reward for mercy, a lonely man's phone call. And by the end of the game, it's hard to realize who's the lonelier one between Niko and Dwayne. Or Blood Brothers, where two brothers each pull you aside and ask you to kill the other one. Derek swears Francis will have him whacked. Francis, a crooked cop, swears Derek is a junkie who will sink the whole family. Both of them are right. Both of them are lying. You choose the brother who lives, and the brother who gets lowered into the ground at his own family's funeral, and the game holds no opinion on whether you chose correctly. There's no good ending available. There's only the one you picked. And even if you had a soft corner for Derek and spared him, he is probably dead anyway by the end of the game, possibly drinking himself to death. And then there's the big one, the choice the whole game has been walking you toward. Niko has run the entire game toward a payday, a massive heroin deal. To land it, mob boss Jimmy Pegorino wants Niko to shake hands with Dmitry Rascalov, the man who has betrayed him more times than anyone alive. So the game asks you a question. Take the deal, or take the revenge? Take the deal, and Dmitry stabs you in the back regardless. He sends a hitman to Roman's wedding, and Roman, the one person who loved Niko before any of this started, the cousin who sold him the American dream over a plate of cockroaches, dies on the pavement in his wedding suit. Take the revenge, and you go put Dmitry down yourself, and the hitman still shows up, except this time the bullet meant for Niko finds Kate, the love interest, the good woman, the one who wanted Niko to be better than the life he was living.
Told me to leave it. I thought I had. I thought it was over.
Take the deal, Roman dies. Take the revenge, Kate dies. There is no third door. No version where everybody walks away. You spend 100 hours becoming this man, and the game's final gift to you is choosing which funeral you have to sit through. That's GTA 4. There's no meter and no clean exit. Just a city that takes someone you love, no matter how carefully you play. This is the difference nobody talks about, because it cuts against the thing we all love about Red Dead. RDR2's morality plays like a video game, a great one. It sorts the world out for you. High honor, low honor, the white hat and the black hat, and a meter below promising that your choices add up to something in the end. GTA 4's morality plays like a Tuesday. Nobody hands you a score. The decent thing and the smart thing point in opposite directions, and half the time there's no decent thing on the menu at all. The game never once tells you whether you got it right, the same way nothing in your actual life ever does. That's what makes RDR2 the better game, and GTA 4 the much braver story. Arthur's world lets you be a good man and pats you on the head for it. Niko's world could not care less how good you are. It's going to cost you Roman or Kate regardless, and then it's going to make you keep living afterward. There's one more mission both games built, and it's the one that holds the whole thing together. The one I promised you at the start of this video. Both of these missions sit you down, late in the story, across from a woman whose husband you killed. In Red Dead, her name is Edith Downs. Months back, Arthur beat her husband Thomas half to death over a debt the man owed Leopold Strauss. Thomas was already sick. He coughed. Arthur caught it. And that cough is the tuberculosis that kills Arthur across the entire back half of the game. Thomas died. Edith lost the house. By chapter 6, she's selling herself in Annesburg, and her boy Archie is up at the mine getting kicked around by the foreman for sport. And Rockstar built one condition into the whole thing. You can only play this mission if Arthur's honor is high. The game makes you earn the right to go and clean up your own mess. When he finally runs into Edith, he starts to cough. She knows that cough. She buried a man who sounded exactly like that. The outlaw who wrecked her family is dying of the same disease he carried out of her husband's chest. But Arthur does get a chance to redeem himself. He rides up to the mine, drops the foreman, and pulls her son Archie out of the mess, presses a wad of cash into the boy's hands, and begs him to take his mother and get gone from that town. In GTA 4, she's Ilyana Faustin. Niko put a bullet in her husband, Mikhail, back near the start of the game. It wasn't even his idea. Dmitry Rascalov talked him into it, smiling the whole way through, because with Mikhail gone, Dmitry got to take it all. And what he took came with a house. Ilyana's house. By the time Niko runs into her, the mansion has been repossessed, and she's down to one room with her daughter, Anna. He apologizes on a boardwalk full of dead carnival rides, which is about the most honest set Rockstar ever picked for a scene. You can see the guilt sitting on him. Then she tells him about her daughter, Anna. The girl's taken up with a pimp, the kind who's going to put her on a pole, or worse. And this woman, the widow of a man Niko shot, asks him for one thing. Go scare him off. Don't kill him. Just make him stop. Now, this mission also has choices. If you kill the pimp, the daughter is still angry at her mother, another dead man in her life. If you spare the pimp, the daughter leaves her mother all alone and moves in with the guy. The only right thing to do here is to scare off the pimp. So, you do. You beat the pimp bloody and let him crawl off still breathing. A while later, Ilyena calls. A man in her daughter's life didn't turn up dead. That's the entire reward. A thank you on the phone from a woman whose husband Niko murdered. Look at what's sitting under both of these. Niko's worst act and Arthur's worst act are the same act the whole tragedy turns on. None of the wreckage was random. Both men built their own ending with their own hands, early, long before they understood what they were doing. And both of them go back to try to pay it down. They find the widow, they save the kid, they say the apology they owe. The only difference is the one this whole video keeps circling back to. The mission in Red Dead is named Do Not Seek Absolution. And yet, the game gives Arthur his atonement. It makes it count. Pull Archie out of that mine and the game nods. The honor climbs. The dying man buys himself a little grace on the way out. Niko bumping into Ilyena is just a random encounter. At the end of it, he gets a phone call and a city that doesn't shift 1 degree. He does the decent thing and stays exactly as damned as he was the minute before he did it.
Really? I don't know. What did I do? So this is what the dream feels like. This is the victory we longed for.
Pull all the way back, and you've got one writer circling the same wound for a decade.
Yeah. Do you think it's the greatest character you've ever created?
I think he's the best. Him and Niko are the two I like. You know, they were the two most ambitious. So for me, it's always sort of a toss-up. You know.
Funny thing about the saddest game ever made, it's the one where the hero actually got let off easy. Arthur got his mercy. Niko never did. And Rockstar might be about to do it a third time. GTA 6 is coming, and the community is already on it. Go look for yourself. There are thousands of side-by-sides out there stacking Lucia next to Mary Linton and Jason next to Arthur Morgan. Same jaw, same haunted eyes. Right now, most of it is just faces, people clocking that Rockstar seems to have a type. But Jason isn't only built like Arthur. He spends his days roughing people up for an old smuggler named Brian Hader, a guy who lets him live rent-free as long as he handles the shakedowns. Sit with that for a second. The biggest game ever made opens with its hero working as hired muscle for an aging crook, doing collections, which is the exact job Arthur Morgan did for Dutch. The same job that put Arthur's fists on Thomas Downs and tuberculosis in his lungs. Now we know TB is curable, so that's not what we're getting this time. But here's the question I'll be chewing on until launch. When Rockstar sits down to break our hearts again, which version of them shows up? The one that learned how to give us a sunrise and let the good man rest? Or the one that still remembers how to leave us standing on the church steps, holding someone we couldn't save? Or give us a happily ever after? I've got theories, a lot of them, and that's where we go next. I'm starting a series breaking down exactly what I think GTA 6 is going to do. The features and the story beats that Rockstar's whole history says are coming, called early, built on the same patterns you just watched me lay out here. If you want to see how many I get right when the game finally drops, subscribe and stick around. We're going to call it before Rockstar does.